little bit, but we have a really short and sweet bite-sized board training. Thank you all for joining for the very first one. I'd like to just say welcome, Aiswell Nakwat, Kelly Padden Telsqui, Tulitsilquat. My name's Kelly Padden. I am from Chilliwack, otherwise known as Chilkowiak, and I live at Cultus Lake, which is unceded traditional territory of the Stalo people, most specifically the Suwali, are my closest neighbors. So welcome everyone. This is Bite-Size Boards Micro-Learning, the inaugural, the very first. So it's going to be a very quick 30 minutes, 26 minutes left, being really respectful of everybody's time. And so if there's anything that you want to follow up with afterwards, I'm here and happy to do that. But before we start, I'd love it. I'm going to be asking you to react, to put things in the comments if you're able, if you're not in transit and can do so safely. I'm going to ask if you can drop your organization and where you're joining from in the chat. And if you want, and you're looking at filling roles on your board right now and you're struggling, let us know what roles. And this can help me tailor support and also remind everyone that they're not alone in this. Okay, so this is going to be fast. I'm going to do a quick board voice intro, then 3 recruitment actions, and then I'm going to show you how to get templates and support from Board Voice. Welcome to those who are joining us. We're just jumping in. I'm going to be looking here with you. I'm going to be looking over here at the chat and as well as keeping an eye on my slides. So if I'm not making eye contact on Zoom, just know that I'm checking in the chats. So Board Voice exists to make volunteer boards stronger and less isolated, especially in small communities and low resource environments. We work with the community social service sector boards across British Columbia. Members get education, advocacy, support, community, and practical tools. And our primary training is Building Better Boards, which is a 5-part series that covers governance foundations and real-world board challenges. If you haven't worked with Board Voice in the past, or if you aren't a member, that's okay. Bite-Size Boards is still for you. And we'll be jumping into practical tools you can take away right away. So let's jump right into that. It would be great for those of you on the Zoom to give me a quick thumbs up if recruitment for your board is a stressor. And a raised hand if you've ever filled a seat at the last minute. And I can definitely raise my hand. You can do that digitally or on camera. Okay, this is completely normal and it's fixable. And it's all about strategy and approach, and it's what we're doing today. So thank you for sharing that. So I want to just check in for a minute around the reality. Recruitment right now is very difficult. People are stretched. We have an aging population in BC and boards filled with incredible knowledge holders. But people that we're looking to come onto boards are really stretched, and boards are doing very complex and serious work with very limited resources. So I want to be really clear up front that the fix is not just to try harder. It's making an ask that's clearer and smaller and more human so that the right people can say yes to what you're looking for. So here are the actions that we're going to go over today for board recruitment and succession planning. And for me, when I'm talking about board recruitment, I'm talking about the bigger picture of succession planning as well. And we can get into the strategy on that in future bite-sized boards. So today, we're going to be looking at the 2-sentence board invite, the 10 list, and the try before you join pathway. So many boards recruit with a vague message. We need more board members, and then people don't know what they're saying. One of the most common ways that I've been approached to join a board is with an ask that sets the wrong tone. And let me ask you if you recognize it. So here's how it goes. Hi, Kelly. We really need someone on our board. We need to fill a seat, and we know you do other board work, so will you join? And then after that sentence comes the poison pill, where they tell me you won't have to do anything. You just have to come to one meeting a month for about an hour, no stress. So does anybody recognize this? If you do, react in any way. But we aren't going to take this approach. Yeah, Camille, with her thumbs up there. We aren't going to take this approach. Your mission and the organization you serve deserve better. So here's how we're going to reset. Your job is going to be to write 2 sentences that make it easy to understand and easy to forward. And I'll give you the templates for this in just a bit. Sentence 1 is mission and local relevance. Sentence 2 is the specific role and the real-time ask, plus the support you'll provide. If you don't have support yet, don't worry. Your support can be a 1-page role description or a buddy system or a 30-day check-in. If you want to share, you can type in the chat what roles you're recruiting for right now. Just the word treasurer, chair, secretary, member. And if you're not recruiting, type me if you've heard the you don't have to do a thing pitch. In the meantime, we're going to talk about templates. So I have a template here on the slide for a general seat. And what it reads is we support who you support in whatever community by, and then what you do. We're recruiting a board member for whatever the term is for about however many hours a month it would be for however many meetings per year. Clear role and onboarding included. This is really important. There's another template you can use as well, and it would be more of a skills-based template. It's a variation of this one. You might write, we're looking for someone with strength in, insert the skill there. So finance, governance, HR, community connection, fundraising. And then you'd follow that up with, you don't need to know everything. Just bring your strengths and we'll support the rest. One of the things that has been happening as I'm traveling the province meeting with different boards and EDs, as well as just organizations in general, is everybody is coming to this work feeling like they don't know necessarily everything they need to know. So that's really normal, and normalizing it in your ask is important. Use the first template for general seats, or the second template that I mentioned when you're trying to diversify the skills. The phrase "you don't need to know everything" lowers the intimidation factor. All right, action 2. So recruitment isn't one event. Your board can approach it like a pipeline, and the 10 list is your pipeline starter. People you know, past volunteers or retired professionals, parents, alumni, community leaders, partner organizations like allied nonprofits or cultural organizations, service clubs, professional associations, and community places that there's already trust, like libraries, community centers, colleges, faith communities, unions, or sports organization. So building your 10 list doesn't mean you're going to ask all 30 people today. The goal is to identify where warm trust already exists. Now, the important key here is not to judge the list, just build it. Don't say no for people, which is, when you're making that list and thinking, okay, Susan would be really great. Oh, but she's so busy. Don't judge it. Just write Susan's name down. So in the chat, if you'd like, type in one community place that could be a recruitment channel. So maybe a college alumni group or a club or a service. I'm a member of Soroptimist, so that might be a good location for me to be thinking about people potentially for a board. So the second part of action 2 is the forwardable ask. When you send your ask to partners, you're not asking them to solve your board recruitment problem. You're asking them to forward a clear message. And when you use the sentence or template from action 1 and you send it to a partner, to a trusted, values-aligned organization, you're not asking them for their people necessarily, but to share the opportunity with their network. So it's a small, very specific ask, which makes it easier for people to do. Okay, action three, and this is my favorite one, and it's the one that I've seen the most success with, especially when there's a high turnover in board, because it's coming to the end of a lot of people's terms, or there are board members aging out who want to step away, but they want to transfer that knowledge. This has been a very, very important way of building board recruitment and succession planning. So what we've found is that a lot of people hesitate to join a board because they imagine a huge forever commitment and a really steep learning curve. There are reports of imposter syndrome where people feel like they're not qualified. Almost everybody joining a board has reported one time or another that they're not sure they're getting it right or that everybody knows more than they do. So it can be an intimidating ask for some people. And your job in recruiting for your board is to lower that barrier. So offering a try before you join option, and there are several pathways that you can take. This is maybe a one-time committee task or a 3-month trial term, or maybe even just attending board meetings as an observer, one board meeting as an observer. Then back it up with onboarding and a buddy and a 30-day check-in. This is how you recruit people who would never respond to a generic call out, who would never see themselves just joining a board because there was a general ask. Especially in BC's funding environment, your governance and recruitment aren't nice to have. They're how you protect your mission and reduce burnout and build funder confidence. So, a little bit of a conversation around the potential on committees as well. I have worked with some boards where the development of their committee, it's 100% made up of board members. However, if you have board members chairing a committee and you have a community member co-chairing, and community members make up parts of that committee for a specific project or a specific task or even longer term, you're building your own leadership pipeline for your board. They'll be able to not only have relationships with existing board members and see what commitment and culture actually look like, but it lowers the intimidation factor when it's time to be recruiting for a board seat. And so inviting people onto committee, especially in passion areas for them, or in areas that overlap with other work they're already doing in community, can be a very, very powerful way to build a leadership pipeline for your board. Also, it's important to note that people, as they get more comfortable, will be willing to be more uncomfortable. So if you're comfortable with the culture of a board or of a committee or the people on it, you're more likely to agree to the maybe discomfort of the unknown of being on a board. And finally, what this also aligns with is that rule about if you need something done, ask somebody who's busy because they're already fitting so much in. So in the Zoom or in the Zoom screen, react with a thumbs up if your board could offer, if you feel they could offer a trial pathway. And if not, react with a raised digital hand or comment in the chat because that's a really great place for Board Voice to be able to support you if you want to learn more about that opportunity. I'm seeing lots of thumbs up. That's fantastic. Okay, I'm excited. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pick one action to do in the next 7 days. Now, it can be the writing your 2-sentence invite or building your 10 list, or creating a try before you join pathway. And I'm a little bit biased. I like the try before you join pathway, but you can't really do it without the other two as well. But whatever fits in your next 7-day plan while you're working on it yourself, or you can bring it to your board. Bringing an example that you've already worked on is really great. Phyllis, the try before you join pathway, I like that. Anyone else? What are you going to be doing in the next 7 days? All right. So next 7 days, plan, send this PowerPoint to them. Yes, I can send the PowerPoint to you all. And I'm going to go over next steps right now because we know that 30 minutes is not long enough to solve uh, recruitment and succession planning, but it is long enough to remind and to maybe light that fire. One of the conversations that I had recently with a board member from one of the boards up in Karameas was around the summer being difficult. The summer is a perfect time to implement some of the recruitment and succession planning work because it can be done individually and then brought back to the group as a whole. So if you're developing the try before you join pathway, making sure that you have an idea of what supports you would offer a new person, whether that would be making sure that they have a buddy, which is gives you really high returns, a 30-day check-in, but also on your agendas, you could start writing out the language of the motion if you don't already. And then any new board members or people coming on would have the script right in front of them and encouraging them to move a motion one or two times in their first couple meetings can add to that confidence as well. All right, so quick wrap up and next steps, and then we'll have a few minutes if anybody has specific questions or specific conversation. First, the next bite-sized boards is going to be meetings that move, and it's going to be a practical 20-minute reset so you can make decisions faster and stop rehashing during your board meetings and leave meetings with clear actions and strategic focus. If you want a copy of the copy and paste templates, the invite scripts, the 10-10-10 worksheet, or the PowerPoint, just type templates in the chat and I'll send them out to you. I can send out all that material. And if you want to keep the momentum, there are two ways that we can help you. First, if you're not already a member of Board Voice, join Board Voice. We have different memberships for different organizations of different sizes, so it really does fit everyone. You'll get ongoing training and tools and community support. The QR code on the screen will take you there, or you can send me an email or request hands-on help if you need it. If you're looking for that hands-on help, I'm available to Board Voice members for consultation, a quick chat. I can pull some resources for you depending on what you're working with, anything to support the important work of your mission and your board. Also, I'm going to be sending up a follow-up email in the next couple of days. You can reply to that if you need any support or if you're looking for additional tools that we've talked about today, or if there's an issue that your board is working on right now or struggling with right now. So before we go into questions, or you want everything, okay. I love it if you want everything, I will send everything. But before we go, I'm hoping you can drop a word in the chat about how recruitment actually feels right now. And the reason I'm asking you to put this in the chat is because as I'm working with different people who are either recruiting for their board or contemplating joining a board, one of the biggest things that I've seen be impactful is when people understand that they're not unique or alone in how they're feeling. So some of the words that I've had from other workshops has been overwhelmed or intimidated, which I talked about earlier today. I've heard the words imposter syndrome. I've even seen the word impossible. Some people are feeling like it's just impossible right now to recruit. And so however you're feeling, if you drop it in there, it's helpful because then I can share those words with other people. All right, so we absolutely did it in the 20 minutes so that we have Nancy's on 3 boards. Ouch, Nancy. That's it. It speaks to if you need something done, ask somebody who's busy. We did it in the 20 minutes, and so we have a few minutes left for anybody who might have any questions or any clarity that you're looking for that very, very bite-size conversation around recruitment. But I do want to say thank you so much for joining. Very much looking forward to next month as well, meetings that move. And I'm available here until 12:30 for any questions from anyone on the call.
Hi, it's Nancy. I'm sorry. Is it okay to ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm very interested in getting together with others. I think you guys are amazing. You've been so helpful to our board. Unbelievable. I love it. And also, I love these bite-sized trainings. I've got lots of people on other boards that are interested, but I wasn't sure I could invite them or not. So sounds like I can.
Absolutely.
And also, at the fall, it seemed like there was going to be something in the fall week where we could gather. But if that's true, I need to plan and organize. And so I'd like to know about it as soon as possible because of flights and, all that work and all that. So thanks very much. Thank you. Sorry, I'm not, I just yeah, thanks. It's been great. I wish I'd devoted more time to it. Thank you.
Well, thanks for joining, Nancy. And yes, for everybody, please feel free to invite anybody. This information is for everyone. This is a free offering from Bite Size or from Board Voice, and so people do not need to be members to be part of Bite Size boards and get the benefits. And quite frankly, the more we strengthen the ecosystem generally of boards, the better we all do because we're building those leaders who will potentially be on our boards and supporting our organizations in the future. Sherry, I see your hand up. Oh, I can't hear you. You're muted.
I just wanted to thank you and say I think these bite-sized board, I think that's a really brilliant idea. I've been involved with Board Voice, I guess, since it started in one way or another, and I think this is really encouraging. I think there's lots of. I think right now the whole issue of volunteerism is changing. Like, from my generation. I'm really old, like, and so it was part of our, how we did things was, volunteering community where the younger people who are juggling families and all the other commitments and travel and budgets and so on right now are finding it really hard to find time to volunteer. And being on a board means that you have to put some volunteer time into it. So there's some real challenges, and I've been talking with a lot of other groups as well. Is like how do we attract more people to put in the time, which is going to benefit their community? And I think that that's the hook. Is whatever your board is doing, it needs to move the person to who's on the board. Like they're really committed to the mission and the goals of the work that's being done and being accomplished. And I see that. I'm still on two or three boards right now, and I think that it's important that we make sure that before we start to recruit people, we know why we're sitting there and we can pass that on to potential people.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for your comments and thanks for your service on boards. I think it's a good example of how much knowledge and needs to be passed on over the next few years as well about, how things have evolved and the difficulties that we've already been through and questions that we've already wrestled with and that's not unique to any one board or any one board member. So thanks so much, Sherry. I really appreciate it. All right. Any other questions? I saw you sit up.
Yeah, all good. Can I just take on to what Sherry said? I think the piece about being in-lined internally is really important. And it prompted a question. I was wondering in this recruitment, in these steps, at any point do you recommend sharing any governance documents like mandates or bylaws, or at what point do you kind of lean onto that to say, hey, here's the broader function on how we work and how we operate, and just advice on like when that can be overwhelming versus, hey, we're all marching in this direction and this is how we do it.
Absolutely. So I'm a really big fan of a great onboarding package, but that would be after they already said yes and got voted in. So my suggestion would be, advanced level kind of, but when you have that buddy, which as soon as somebody is even open to the conversation, pair them up with somebody on the board that can kind of have those conversations and build that relationship. And developing a one pager of, this is who we are, here's kind of the core of it. We have our terms are 2 years. We are a governance board versus we are a hybrid or working board. Um, Here's the kind of things we're excited about that the board gets to do during the year. And just really simple, leave lots of space on the page. Um, so not so much the governance documents, but the key central things that the board work is based on. And so then during the onboarding, having, yes, the package and availability, and even a kind of like a map of here are the documents that are the must reads right away, like here's where to start, and here's where to get to, and having that buddy check in with them. So a week after those documents are provided, going out for a coffee and being like, hey, have you had a chance? And if the answer is no, that's okay. The buddy can go through them with them at that point. And if the answer is yes, they can ask questions and check in really, really early about whether that felt overwhelming.
Can I ask one really quick follow-up question? I know we're at time.
Yeah.
Is there anything you can identify that you recommend being on the onboarding package?
Yes, there's a lot of things that should be on the onboarding package. I was going to be doing onboarding in September, but
Okay,
I can see if I can pull some material early for you. If you want to shoot me an email,
sure.
if that works for you, I can send you a little bit of a list. But September is when I was going to be looking at onboarding in the bite-sized boards.
Awesome. Thanks.
All right, thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of your lunch hour and have a happy Monday.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.